question of when Jesus wanted me to be outside myself started early, but I didn't receive that. There's so much for me to learn that I wasn't learning, that I hadn't been open to. Being in church, being around other Christian believers socially and so forth was all really good stuff. Playing on sports teams with churches and all the things I like to do was really all about, it was feeding me, and I wasn't feeding outward. Even though I might have taught a Sunday school class, or taught RAs, that kind of thing, but I really wasn't looking at my faith as something that should be projected in every walk of life, in everything that I do. Until I was working on my doctoral degree, and we struggled to find a church that we wanted to worship at. We finally found one, and when I got there and we decided to become a part of that congregation, they immediately asked me to be a deacon, and then immediately asked me if I'd pray, after the offering was taken, because no one else wanted to pray. And then asked me to do a Bible study, which I did, and no one brought a Bible. And all those things, just all of a sudden, God was saying to me, look at all these things that are going on out there. Somebody needs to hear, what I'm asking, from them, in terms of walking with me. And so I started paying more attention, to the influence that I might have on others, for Jesus in other walks of life. And I will tell you that at that point, I probably became a little prideful as well, thinking that, well, I'll read my Bible, or I'll never go to a Bible study without a Bible. Why won't other men pray? I'll pray. I don't understand. Very prideful. And then he brought that back out of me too in another experience later on when we left there and moved. He taught me where I needed to be in that walk as well. So I grew a lot, from that as I thought about focusing more, outwardly. And it's not an easy thing, I think, for people, to take their Christianity out of Sunday or out of a Wednesday night or whatever and take it into their work life, take it into their social life, take it into every place they are so that people, see Jesus through them. We talk a lot about how we want people to know us and know Jesus because of us. And so we sometimes will act in a manner we think is Christ-like, but we never verbalize it. And I think acting is phenomenal, but at some point, you've got to let people know why. The example, a question earlier with our daughter and son-in-law, adopting of Kesa, that whole experience was just a blessing to us in many, many ways, even though we feared for their lives, actually. But it gave my wife and I such an opportunity to witness to others, because they would always say, well, how's your daughter? What's going on there? Why don't you just go get them and bring them home? Why don't you tell them that's not right? Why would you do that? Well, that was wonderful. Questions like that gave us a chance to say, well, let me tell you why. Let me tell you what we believe God is asking them to do. And then God what? Come on. And so the ability to witness is going to come up in many different areas of life if you want it to be there. God's going to give you, I think, those opportunities to really share your testimony with others in many, many different ways. And it's simple. He's not asking you to quote scripture, but be prepared. You got to share my word.